Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Dearly Departed Round 19 review. Not that many games to talk about. No points to talk about either. We had 3 teams play out of our Dearly Departed and 3 defeats sadly, but still plenty to analyse, and particularly in big picture in terms of trends and where things are going. Some difficult games as well. Let's become an apologist immediately for our teams. Who are our teams? Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford and Brentford. Obviously Leeds and Watford not in action, but those are the teams that I covered in the Championship, and we continue to do so whilst they're in the Premier League with our review show each and every week. We're here in all seasons. We're only able to do that thanks to lovely people like Simon, who is our fan sponsor for this show. Simon got involved. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. This will always be free here on YouTube, but if you do want to support, we get a little bit back from ad revenue. I do other paid work that's not to do with this. But if you want to support this, you can do so on Patreon. We thank you, Simon, who's our... he's got his own show. Look, our fan sponsor for these Dearly Departed shows. 25 years as a Bees fan. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. Thanks, Dad, for taking me in 96 when football was not such a priority as it was now. Thanks as ever, Simon. Now, before we get into the games, let's just look at the state of things. So Liverpool-Leeds was postponed. May or may not have been bad news from a Leeds point of view. Obviously, we hope everybody's safe and well, but Liverpool in fine form. Hey, maybe the fixtures would have caught up on Liverpool. Who knows? But Leeds not in action. And then Wolves and Watford at the top also postponed there, along with Burnley and Everton. So, as you can see, we've got Norwich against Arsenal to talk about. We've got Villa and Chelsea. And then in the late kickoff last night, it was Brighton and Brentford. Shall we get into it? Starting as ever with the highest ranked team, which is Aston Villa. Let's do it. So, it was Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3. Can I carry on with my narrative of Villa under Stevie Gerrard, who wasn't there? He had a positive test, didn't he? Villa under Stevie Gerrard so far have won all their games, apart from when they play one of the big boys, and they've now lost to Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City. We've gone back and forth with the Villa subscribers on the channel in the comments, and in the main, they're pretty happy. And if that stays the pattern, if that stays the pattern, beat everyone except the top 3, you finish 4th. Even I can add that one up. But look, it won't be that extreme. But it still is arguably a good start under Stevie Gerrard. How many games have we had now for Stevie G? This is, so I'm just looking at the other screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 wins against Brighton, Palace, Leicester and Norwich. 3 defeats, as I said, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Read into that what you will and get me your comments. Again, lots to talk about in terms of COVID and people who are not there, and Thomas Tuchel's, particularly the Chelsea boss, not been a very happy camper. But there is your Villa team. You tell me how strong or weak you think this is. Martinez in goal. Cash, Konza, Mings, Target. So far, so good. Sanson, Louise and Ramsey. I pause on the name Sanson because he certainly hasn't been a regular. I'm looking down here. Young, Davis, Nakamba, Bailey all unavailable. I can't see John McGinn anywhere either. No, so a few important names missing. And it looks like, whatever you want to call it, 4-3-1-2, diamond midfield. Say it how you like. Buendia off Watkins and Ings, which and Villa fans will confirm or deny this, if that is the actual shape they play, there's a little bit of a departure because it's normally been 3 narrow forwards as opposed to a number 10 off a front 2, which that looks like Buendia. We've had the conversation a lot of times. Best work always coming in from the right, although Gerrard had him working coming in from the left. Not really a number 10, is he? I don't know. You think a player of that extreme talent would be able to convert across to there, but hey, you never know. You never know with some players what they like and what they get used to. For Chelsea, Mendy in goal. Chalobah, Silva, Rudiger. James Alonso. Chilwell, obviously a long-term one. Kante, Jorginho. Do we expect Kovacic soon? So let me just check the bench. Yeah, yes, we do. He's back in this one. There we go. Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic with the lesser-spotted Romelu Lukaku on the bench. So you would say both sides quite close to full strength. But look, we don't know what full strength is. We don't know how many people have had it and isolated. We don't know, do we? A lot of speculation going on here. We can only talk about what happened on the pitch, so let's do just that. And Villa take the lead in this one, and they seem to start the game pretty decently, in fact. So not the biggest shock in the known universe that they went in the lead. Bit of a strange goal, actually. That is Matt Targett. I've paused it on there. He's about to cross it in. I'm not entirely sure who to. A friend of mine always says he's just putting it in an area, Ben. Probably right here. I guess Cash would be the target running in towards the 6-yard box. But look at number 24, Reece James, who's in a bit of a non-position there. He's not really marking anybody. He's kind of tucked in from right wing back. First of all, far be it for me to criticise Reece James, who's an absolutely brilliant player, isn't he? However, he just gets himself in a bit of a muddle here. Tries to get something on the ball, flips his head at it, and this cross into an area flips off Reece James over Mendy and into the back of the net. And Villa have the lead against Chelsea. Not for long, though. Only for 6 minutes. And Emi Martinez gets booked for time wasting a minute before this. So maybe they were already in what we hold mode. Unfortunately, Matt Cash didn't get the memo there, did he? And Cash has been very good, as have both the Villa fullbacks, really, for a season and a bit now. But he gets in a muddle here, doesn't he? Alonso slides that into Callum Hudson-Odoi. And Cash almost knows. This is like when you get locked out, isn't it? And as you're closing the door, you know those keys are on the other side. He kind of knows as he's sliding in, oh, God, what have I done? Hudson-Odoi draws the contact, down he goes. Penalty, not much protest from nobody, really, on that one. And Jorginho, we talk a lot about Ivan Toney's penalties on the channel and on this show in particularly. He's got to be up there with one of the best penalty takers. And Martinez, good goalkeeper as well, and he loves a bit of shahousery and sledging beforehand. He was on the move, and Jorginho sends him the wrong way and sticks it into that corner. 1-1 at half-time. And here comes Romelu Lukaku, who comes on for Trevor Chalobah at, start of the second half, and has quite the impact, as he did over Villa in the first game. Obviously, we're into playing teams now for the second time this season. And, yes, two things can be true again, as ever. Hudson-Odoi, very good, swings it into the near post. Lukaku, across the man, glances the header in, all very good. I always get accused of being a Tyrone Mings apologist because of my status as an Ipswich fan, so I will criticise him here. Mings looks terrified of Lukaku, doesn't he? I watched it back a couple of times and just watched Lukaku, and he's a couple of yards off. Mings can see him. It's very much a 1v1, and it's that classic of not wanting to get too tight in case you just get out-muscled, and then getting too far away. And Lukaku gets the run on him and bounces him off. You can see Mings there virtually with his back turned, and I suspect his teammates were looking in his direction after that one. The Villa and England centre back. 2-1 and a couple of decent chances. I think Chelsea kind of push on in the second half, but they break away in the 93rd minute to put the game out of reach. So just wanted to put that on from that moment there. That is Targett and Lukaku running. And Targett looks well favoured. Obviously, in a still, it's hard to know the speed of the ball and which exact direction it's travelling in. But let me tell you, he looks favourite. And there's a reason for that. And Lukaku just goes into the old beast mode, doesn't he? And just runs past, barges him off the ball. Targett tries to pull him back as well. And he just keeps going and keeps going. Konsa ends up sliding in and giving away the penalty. I think I got that as well. There, look at Targett flat on his front there, and Konsa gives Targett a very accusing look there. It's just a very powerful and direct piece of play by Lukaku. It's very good. And he wins the penalty. And of course, Jorginho scores the penalty because he tends to do that. Martinez second guesses himself here. I think he kind of had the first penalty in his head and he doesn't seem to go all out with the dive on this one. And I think if he did, he probably would have saved it, wouldn't he? It looked like he was quite close there. And maybe had he just second guessed and not thrown himself all the way to that side. Jorginho's so good with the penalties, isn't he? 3-1 to Chelsea. Villa lose for the third time under Stevie Gerrard, but again for the third time against one of the big three. Now, Villa's game against Leeds, which is a real good one. I really enjoy that one, having covered the two of them in the Championship, and Villa going up in 18-19 and Leeds in 19-20. Some really good games between the two. In fact, we had an anniversary, didn't we, of that brilliant Villa 2, Leeds 3, which would have been just before Christmas in 2018. So, yeah, shame we're not getting that one. But maybe a little cool off, a week, calm down, get Gerrard back in the building after his positive test and move on from there. There are the numbers. Only one shot on target for Villa. Obviously got the goal from an own goal. And the numbers do stack up well for Chelsea, don't they? Look, 10 shots to 8, 4-1 on target, 5 corners to 2, 4 big chances to 0. Okay, penalties pad that number, but 0.52 on the XG to 2.68 on in Chelsea's favour there. And the shot map is, don't look at the Chelsea shot map, look at the Villa shot map, and it's all a bit sparse, isn't it? And look, I'm sure I'll get comments from our Villa subscribers. This is just where Villa are at the moment, and these top three teams are way off. And, well, if you want to be competitive against everybody, maybe, you take a back seat and maybe being competitive with those top three, best case scenario, might be a couple of years or more away as Villa try and grow into the Premier League. We'll look at the table at the end. But my narrative, and I'm sticking with it, Villa losing to the big boys and beating everybody else under Steven Gerrard. Let me know your thoughts on this game and the narrative going forward for the Villa 1, Chelsea 3. Get involved in the comments. Okay, next up in the evening kickoff, it was Brighton 2, Brentford 0. And that is a double for Brighton over Brentford. Trossard, wasn't it? Late on in the game. It must have been Brentford's might have even been their first defeat, period. It's definitely their first home defeat, wasn't it? Back in the early part of the season. And Brentford, a bit spotty, but spotty you'll take at the moment. If you're in the bottom three, you'll take. But by spotty, I mean win here, lose here, win here, lose here. When you're spotty, you're winning at least, just not on a regular basis. It's obviously the difference between a side being near the top and being in the middle. But, hey, it could also be the difference between a side being in the middle and down the bottom if you're continually losing. But it's another one for the Bees. And I'm just looking, they haven't played since 10th of December in the league when they had that vital late win against Watford, that turnaround, which had meant 7 points in 4 up until then. They were due Man United and then Southampton. Played against Chelsea in the League Cup. But they go under here to Brighton, do the Bees on Boxing Day. Let's do the Brighton team first. Sanchez in goal. Lamptey, Webster, Byrne, Cucurella, McAllister, Lallana, Mwepu, Moda, Trossard, and Neil Maupay, who you will not need to tell me, or you will not need me to tell you, I'm getting my words all round befuddled at the moment, is a former Brentford striker. He's only there for about a season, wasn't he? Typical Brentford one that was sold him for a couple of million quid, bangs in 25 goals-ish in the Championship, don't know the exact number, sell him for 20-25 million. There you go, jobs are good, and if you can pull it off. Again, always makes me laugh. Our club should adopt the Brentford model. Easier said than done then. Good luck finding those players and doing business that good. But there we go. In goal for the Bees is still Alvaro Fernandez, Raya. He must have missed, double figures in games now. It's a long old hold for him. Pinnock, Janssen, Sørensen is the back three. So no Asia at the back, the signing from Celtic. Canos and Thompson, so no Rico Henry either. Baptiste, Norgard, Jensen, and Mbeumo and Tony up top. So very pleased Bees fans will be to see Ivan Toney back, but still some missing names. Asia, De Silva, Fosu, Good, Zanka, Raya, Henry. Plenty missing still in terms of a good handful of first teamers there, arguably too, in terms of Brentford. And they're going to lose out to a couple of really good goals here. And this is going to be a frustrating one because when we do the end of game, we do the numbers, the stats, the XG and everything, we're going to conclude Brighton didn't create a hell of a lot and won. And anyone who's followed Brighton and their statistical anomalies that surround them will know it's normally the opposite way round with Brighton. So they'll be pleased to finally get one over. But shame it has to be on one of our dearly departed boys. This is a great goal. Really, really good goal. And Wepo, who is in a kind of inside, like a Pep Guardiola right-back position, pings that one right over the top with his left foot, actually. So it's pretty much a straight ball. Okay, you can ask a couple of questions of Pontus Jansson, who does obviously let Leandro Trossard run off him. Okay, you can ask possible questions of Fernandez in goal. They're kind of both in no man's land. But you don't expect Trossard, first time on the volley, to just guide that ball perfectly over the keeper into the back of the net. I suppose Fernandez gets away with it more than Jansson, because if Trossard brings that down, maybe Fernandez is out far enough to then be able to close him down. He takes the chance. It's just lobbed over his head. Maybe, and you tell me in the chat, B subscribers, maybe Jansson's a bit more at fault for letting the run through. But look, we do need to give credit. Not every goal is a mistake, and it's a good ball, a very, very good finish as well. 1-0 Brighton. And we already did the Neil Maupay story. Of course, he's going to score in this game, isn't he? Maupay, you can see by the number of Brentford players all stacked up, shoved over to one side, that Brentford have kind of got trapped, and then Brighton have played out from their left-hand attacking side. It's gone across to Maupay quickly. You can see two flying challenges come in. I guess that's Dom Thompson coming in from left wing back. I watched this a couple of times, so I'm happy to be wrong. I'm not sure. Did it take a little nick? Because it does kind of like spoon a little bit into the top corner. Apologies to Maupay if it didn't. If it didn't, it's a really good finish, and he slams it into the top corner for 2-0 on 42 minutes. And you'd be a bit disappointed if you're a Brentford fan to see one perfectly lobbed over for 1-0 and one fly in the top corner for your former striker. I like Maupay. As a rule of thumb, generally, I don't endorse this "I'm not going to celebrate" thing. Do you know what I mean? It all feels a little bit pandery to me, especially Maupay, who loves a hand to the ear or a shush. I'm not suggesting he should have done that, but be interested what Brentford fans think. Do you care if your former striker, who left presumably for a pay rise in the Premier League, who's now scored past you, doesn't celebrate? I don't know. Always feels a little bit nah to me. Just celebrate the goal, man. It's your job, in the words of Roy Keane. But hey, let's not get bogged down with that. In the second half, couple of close calls, but Brighton do see it out. That is, you can see Pinnock there in the middle of the box. Who is the Brighton number 10? McAllister. That's who Pinnock's next to. He guides the header. He's very good in the air. Pinnock. And it's a good save by Sanchez. I remember doing Leeds Brighton, and Sanchez made a similar save. He's a big bloke, but right down into the corner. And then, how this has not gone in, I've got no idea. Christian Norgard heads it over Sanchez, and it's an open goal. You can see big Dan Burton, who's actually huge. He's above 6'6", I think. Massive bloke. And then little Mark Cucurella in behind him. How Cucurella's headed this out and not into Dan Burn or into his own net, and we all fall down and the ball ends up in the goal, I don't know. It's a very good bit defended, and it's not going to be Brentford's day. Ivan Toney or no Ivan Toney. They are not scoring in this one. And it was Brighton 2, Brentford 0. And there you go. There's the reason you would say it's a frustrating one for the Bees. Because we often play this game, don't we? Look at the numbers and guess the score. And I don't think you had too many guesses at 2-0 Brighton, because it all looks very even, doesn't it? 50-50 possession, 15 shots to 16. That's a lot, isn't it? 6-5 in Brentford's favour, 9 corners to 6 in Brentford's favour. One big chance apiece. Both sides under a single goal for the XG. So a 2-goal margin of finish, a 2-goal margin at the finish. And it's blindingly obvious. Sometimes people who get very emotional about XG and using a probability stat, they want everything to be blindingly obvious. Well, hopefully this one is just very good finishing on Brighton's part for both the goals. And if you score low probability chances, you win games. And they did. In terms of Brentford, who are obviously our main focus here, it's still spotty. They really... I think if Brentford had... And look, nobody keeps a fit squad the whole time. But I think if they'd kept particularly Raya and Asia fit for at least half of the games they've missed, they would have a few more points than they do, let's just say. And things would be a bit more stable. Everything else around that 3-5-2 doesn't look far off. But obviously, again, Henry, Asia, Raya... Maybe Onyeka as well in central midfield. I don't think that central midfield is weak, I have to say. I do think good players. Although I do keep seeing Jensen getting a few pelters from my Bees friends on my Twitter feed. So, look, they're not far off. And I would suggest when you compare them to the teams right down in the bottom three, which, don't be offended by that, Brentford fans. That's the standard we're judging them by. Just finish 17th, for God's sake, and think about next season when you're safe and all of that good stuff. They look a lot more viable than those teams down there, because they have won games, they have looked gritty, they have looked tough, and there hasn't been too many examples of this. However, we can pick out 2 examples, both against Brighton this season, where perhaps they've been in a game they should have got 1 point, maybe at least, and they didn't. So. They're just going to have to roll with that. So let me know your thoughts on that, Brentford fans. A frustrating one for the second time this season against Brighton. Let me know your thoughts on the game and the month coming up now and getting those key players back in, particularly in goal and in the back three as well. Thoughts in the comments. Brighton 2, Brentford 0. Here we go then. Norwich 0, Arsenal 5 at Carrow Road. A horrible afternoon for Norwich. And from what I can tell from my Norwich fans in my social media feed, a lot of thinking about the macro rather than the micro, and a lot of talk about models and philosophies of clubs, let's just say, in terms of how competitive they are or are not at Premier League level. Now, I have written a piece about this. Check that out, Norwich fans. That'll be on football365.com tomorrow. It's already all written, but yeah, a bit of a deep dive on all of those topics, as former Norwich manager Daniel Farke used to say, but a bit of a hammering. And yeah, I don't want to be the guy on repeat, but we said when Norwich won 2 and drawn 2, what cannot happen is that is a big bump in Norwich's points per game. And 4 defeats since that. And of course, you can then parlay the 2 draws into a 6-game run of just 2 points now. So I didn't want it to be the case, but it is proving to be the case now. That the run, the 1 win under Farke, wasn't it? 1 win under Smith and 2 draws. That up and down was not the norm. And Norwich are now slipping back to not many points and the bottom of the table. Here is the team that Dean Smith went for. Angus Gunn gets a going goal. Tim Krul not around. I believe Angus Gunn was once like a 10 million quid keeper, wasn't he, for Southampton. I don't know if it was that, maybe I'm exaggerating, whether it was that amount, but certainly an expensive player in his time, and of course on loan at Norwich in 17-18, before Norwich got good, yeah. Williams and Aarons the fullbacks, Gibson and Kabak the centre-backs, and it feels like I've been on a crusade against poor Billy Gilmour this whole season, but when I saw a double pivot, a 4-2-3-1 of Gilmour and McLean pre-game, I was worried. I was like, that'll get played through, because he may be very good, but he needs to, doesn't he? And I think Norwich fans agree with me on that from what I've seen and heard. Sergeant Dowell, a start for Kieran Dowell, Plachetta, the three across, supporting Teemu Pukki up top, who just seems to be Norwich's only hope of getting goals since Emi Buendia left. Of course, we should mention, and we have to do this by way of mitigating factors, missing players, although Norwich's feel more injury things concerns rather than COVID. But my God, Solis, Sargent, Rupp, Lise Melu, Norman, Key, Hanley, Omabamidele, Rasica and Zimmerman is the list on SofaScore. Sorry, I can see a couple of them were actually on the bench. They were down as doubtful. In fact, Melu and Cholis actually got on. But you take my point. A fair amount of injuries for Norwich, who appear to be at war without a gun, in the words of the... Has Stuart Webber taken over Stephen Fry as the most quotable Norwich linked person here? For Arsenal, Ramsdale in goal. White, Holding, Gabriel, Tierney back in for Arsenal, and he had a lovely old time in this one, didn't he? Xhaka and Partey. Saka, who we love with our England hat on, but maybe not so much with our dearly departed hat on. He scored against Leeds as well, didn't he? I think Odegaard, Martinelli and Lacazette. Obviously, Aubameyang out of favour, let's just say. Norwich's form and viability was very much out of favour in this game. Dean Smith was furious about this one in the post-match, talking about, this is the opening goal for Saka, of course, playing inverted wingers, show them on the outside, etc. And you can see it's Kabak gives the ball away on the touchline, and then Norwich get pulled across, don't they, and pulled apart by Arsenal. The ball's worked out to Saka, and they've got themselves in a horrible position. Saka comes inside, and Smith's complaint, obviously, is that it's Brandon Williams, the left-back, isn't it? Get the block off, don't let him get the shot off. And you can see the gap to Gunn's right-hand side, the left-hand post as we're looking. He finds it, and all of those faces you see in the stand behind the goal, the Barclays stand there at Norwich, God, that was so obvious where that one was going, and in it goes for 1-0 on 6 minutes. Saka, here comes 2-0, and I mean, Dean Smith, he kind of can't win, because he talked about don't let the inverted forwards come narrow, because the knock-on effect of that is the fullbacks will go wide, and that's exactly what Tierney does. He makes the run on Max Aarons, who I think is a very good fullback here, but look, Tierney's just got him here, hasn't he? And he makes the run, bit more pace, really good shot. The commentator, I think it was Ikoku, says just places it in the far post, brilliant finish, puts it in off the far post, doesn't slash across it. 2-0 Arsenal, 44 gone. And into the second half, and this is the worrying thing for Norwich fans, it's a collapse now to go 3-4-5, and then you see it in 5-0s, don't you, when one team's head kind of goes a bit at the end and there's two late goals. That's what's going to happen here. 67, Saka again, and Dean Smith furious again. Look at the position Saka's taken up. And again, you've got the exact what you don't want to see in terms of the inverted forward and the overlapping fullback, both in a position in the still, and Saka, he's so good, isn't he? Curls it in to the far post. 3-0. And a Kabak, he looks a bit hapless at times, doesn't he? Bless him. Well, he's on loan from Liverpool, isn't he? So, high calibre club he's on loan from. But hey, Gilmour and Williams are on loan from Manchester United and Chelsea as well. There's reason they're on loan and not in the first team then. That's not to have a pop at any of the three players, but maybe we shouldn't take into account the colour of the club when we're talking about players that cannot play in the first team for that club yet because they haven't worked their way into a position such. Anyway, Kabak on Lacazette's just clumsy, isn't it? You can almost see from the still he's too close, he's too tight. Lacazette shielding the ball, bang. Penalty, 4-0. Lacazette sends the keeper gun the wrong way. Would there have been a chance if Krul was in goal? Maybe. Who cares? 4-0 at this point. Here comes number 5, and I do have to feel sorry for Norwich on this one because, first of all, the cross takes a deflection and bounces straight into Smith Rowe's path. And then you look at the offside, and he's about onside by about 1 millimetre. He's 1 toenail onside Smith Rowe. But I suppose Norwich fans will be more worried by the nature of it being a collapse rather than how goal number 5 goes in. It's the fact that you've collapsed to the point of goal number 5 even being a possibility. And Arsenal stick it home. And use whatever stats you want to use in a 5-0 defeat. 65 on the possession for Arsenal. 16 shots to 4. Only 2 shots on target for Norwich. 3 big chances to 0. And do you know the worst stat on that whole page? Look down on the XG. 0.16 was Norwich's XG they created, which even if you're going to keep a clean sheet, you're probably still not going to win with 0.16 XG, let alone conceding 5 goals. So not good at all for Norwich. Again, I've written a piece about this, so I won't go in too much detail to talk about the model and that horrible self-funding term that Stuart Webber's been using a lot for Norwich fans by way of sort of conditioning them in terms of their expectations. They spent a lot of money in the summer, and I look at that team and Sargent, he's new. He hasn't really done anything, has he? Gilmore, he's new. He's not been very good, has he, at all? Especially defensively. Kabak, no, he's not been very good. Williams, I don't know. You tell me. Norwich fans been okay. Left back, is he any upgrade on Giannoulis? Are all the signings put together any better than Buendia? And Buendia wasn't sold because Norwich had no money anymore. Buendia was sold because of a handshake saying, okay, I'll stay down in the Championship and get you promoted, and then I'm off ski. So is it execution or is it the model? Bit of both. Normally is a bit of both. But look, I don't want Norwich fans to get into this existential nightmare of worrying about the model and this impossible to win game, because that gets a very depressing conversation very, very quickly. And we all know about the tiers that football comes in, and there'll be plenty of fans that would argue that are below Norwich in that hierarchy, that Norwich are bullies compared to where they are, but in the Premier League, Norwich are getting bullied again, and maybe the argument does end that the system's broken and that it's impossible to go up and trade on your profits, which is different to being self-funded. Anyway, that's a hill that I've died on many, many times. But Norwich try and trade on their profits, and there's no non-footballing stuff. They don't take massive gambles and leverage massive amounts of debts. Other people do, and Norwich can't seem to keep up in the Premier League is the big conversation Norwich fans seem to have been having, rather than should Brandon Williams have shown Bukayo Saka in twice. You let me know which conversation you'd rather have. One's very long and depressing, and one's probably easier to fathom. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Either micro, Norwich 0, Arsenal 5, or macro, can a team trade off profits and income created by footballing things in the Premier League landscape at the moment? I know the answer, and whilst Norwich may not have helped themselves with some of the recruitment out and in this summer, it looks pretty bloody hard, doesn't it? But there we go. Talk about what you like. It's Christmas after all, but whatever it is, it's probably going to be reasonably depressing as it pertains to Norwich 0, Arsenal 5. Get involved in the comments. Okay, there we go. Another beautifully happy affair here on Dearly Departed today. There are the league tables. So, working our way down, our top-ranked team is Aston Villa in 11th. Look, we'll take it, okay? Villa have beaten everyone other than the big three under Steven Gerrard. I'm happy enough. Give me some positivity. Brentford 13th. I'm happy enough. Look, what have they got? 20 points from 17. They're above the point per game, and we think it's a low tide. Keep being spotty, Brentford, and you'll stay up. It's fine. I'll take it. Leeds. Yeah. Well, we did a Leeds special last time. They are in 16 points from 18 games. We need a trend up from Leeds. Put it that way. Maybe the low tide will save them, but one or the two we need to see in terms of Leeds survival. Watford 13 points from 60 games. They're in 17th place. 11 defeats as well. They need a trend up. And then right down at the bottom, Norwich played 18. 12 defeats, only 8 goals in 18 games. Oh, it's not good enough. Not good enough, I hear you say. We all know it. 39 conceded. Hey, Newcastle could chip a few more tonight and Norwich won't have the most conceded. But look, they're still only 3 points off. The low tide may save someone. It's not going to save multiple dearly departed teams, put it that way. Next round, they come thick and fast, is tomorrow, for God's sake. So we're going to be right back at it. And look, I know a lot of people are upset at Klopp and Tuchel for their comments, but it's hard work keeping up covering all of this, put it that way. But yeah, Norwich will play Palace tomorrow, presuming there's no COVID issues between now and then. Watford will play West Ham, same caveat. Damn shame, Leeds and Villa cancelled. Always like that fixture. And then Brentford, Manchester City on the 29th. And we've said this about not even the dearly departed teams, even the regularly tenured, frequent Premier League teams. Just good luck playing Man City. They've won 9 on the trot there. Ridiculous. They scored 6 again. Okay, they conceded 3, didn't they? But they are having a lovely old time up at the top of the table. That was our dearly departed round 19 review. Thanks again to Simon. So look, plenty to talk about. Talk to me about Villa and where we stand. Hopefully you're as optimistic as I am in terms of who it is they're losing to. Brentford, again, okay, lost to Brighton, but numbers were all right and spotty enough, viable enough. Fingers crossed. Norwich, yeah, bigger conversation as it go, and get involved in the comments to join in with that. Thank you everybody for watching. I guess we will be back. Let me bring that fixture list up one more time. Sorry, let me figure this out. I haven't done so already. One thing at a time. Yeah, we're probably going to be back on the 30th to talk about those games. The Brentford one, so that will be on Thursday. Keep up if you can, and we'll try and get involved with everything that happens, and then yeah, maybe we'll chill about 3 days into January. Thank you everybody for watching. That was Dearly Departed. Like, subscribe, Patreon if you're feeling really, really kind as well, and definitely have your say. Get involved in the comments. Get your opinion across, and we try on this channel to do that in a civil manner, which we don't always get in the internet era, do we? So try and do that. But we do want to hear from you. Please exercise your freedom of speech, even if that means disagreeing with me or anyone in the comments. But don't be a prick about it. Happy Christmas, everybody. That was Dearly Departed round 19. Over and out.